Today we are talking all about tea. I am organizing my tea drawer. I'm going to be sharing with you guys what I like to grow in my garden for tea specifically, how I dry and store it, and also my favorite iced tea during the summer months. So grab a cup of tea and let's jump right in. For me, there's nothing better than ice cold iced tea during the hot summer months, and I personally prefer my iced tea unsweetened, but I like infused flavors. China Mist has a passion fruit and a watermelon. You can make big batches of it for guests or a get-together or just for yourself. For me, I absolutely love to sip on it, and there's actually a restaurant we go to called Lucille's, and they serve a watermelon iced tea in a mason jar, and they also have iced watermelon cubes inside the mason jar. So I noticed that when I ate there. I go there sometimes just to get their tea to go. So I thought I would start making it at home. We also love watermelon in the summer. My kids are big fans of watermelon, so I picked up a watermelon. I accidentally got this yellow one, which in my opinion is a little bit more mild than a traditional red watermelon, but just as tasty and works for what I'm gonna do with the iced tea. My husband is actually gonna chop this up into cubes, and then everything else is gonna be for the kids, but I'm gonna freeze a few of these cubes for the iced tea. Byron actually does have a few videos on his channel about how to chop fruit, which might seem common knowledge, but it can be tricky sometimes to chop certain types of fruit. So I learned how to chop fruit from him, but if he is around, I usually just ask him to do it since he's much more precise and less likely to injure himself. Now for this recipe, obviously the watermelon doesn't have to be perfect cubes, but the point is that you want to have frozen watermelon cubes, and then you can add them with ice and have a really yummy infused iced tea for the summer. One of the benefits of an herbal garden is many of the herbs that you do grow can also be used for tea and different tea blends. If you are a fan of tea and you have space for a tea garden, there's a few herbs that I would definitely recommend growing that have so many great uses. I've definitely mentioned lavender before on my channel. It can be tricky to get it started and to have it really flourish, so be patient with it. But this was a clip from a previous video where I made lavender soap. So I harvested the lavender, I clipped it, and then I hung it upside down on my herb drying rack, and then I let it dry for a few days, and then I could slowly remove the buds that were now dry. There's going to be some seed that I can save and dry and use for next year, and then I can also take the rest and use it for tea. I could put it in sachets for throwing in the dryer or under a pillow. You can use it for lavender creme brulee or a lavender iced tea. Lavender is a very calming and therapeutic herb, so great for so many different uses and wonderful as a tea. You can also blend it with an herb like chamomile, which I really love as well. Chamomile can be used on its own or blended with lavender. There are two ways that I personally like to harvest my chamomile. So because chamomile is just dried chamomile flower, you can twist and pull off the actual flower itself and just let those dry, or I sometimes cut it at the stem and hang it upside down. Lemon balm is another one that I like to grow. It's really great for calming, so relaxing tea blends, but also for the occasional upset stomach or nausea. Catnip is really good, again, for calming. So I collect bundles and then I hang them up on my herb drying rack outside. That usually takes about 2 to 3 days. You can use a mortar and pestle if you're doing a really fine seasoning, which I like to do for my thyme and oregano. But for peppermint, lemon balm, chamomile, I can just use my fingers to break up the leaves or pull the chamomile flowers off the stems, and then I can store these in mason jars. Depending on how much I harvest, I'll have small or larger mason jars. And if they're kept in a cold, dry, dark place, they can be kept to up for a year. I'm going to put a full list of what I'm growing in my tea garden, and then a few of my favorite blends. Right here I have chamomile, catnip. I also have lemon balm that have been dried and stored. The stainless steel tea infusers are really great to have on hand because you can do blends of tea with them. So I'm adding a little chamomile, catnip, and lemon balm. It's a great feeling to grow your own herbs that you can use for tea, and there's so many different benefits. Plus, I love the relaxing blends for a self-care night or before bed. I have my fair share of teas from the grocery store, and I have a tea drawer that's pretty messy. A few years ago, I pinned a picture on my Pinterest page of how I wanted my tea drawer to look, and I'm just getting around to organizing it. So I'm finally doing it. I'm pulling out all the boxes. I think there's like cough drops and vitamins that ended up in there, some essential oils. So random. So I needed to pull everything out, and it's just another drawer in my house that needs to be organized and rethought. So every few days I try to reorganize something, some space in the house. So I have this organizer that was previously in my bathroom for skincare. I felt like it wasn't working as well for that drawer, so I decided to use it for my tea drawer. And I'm going to take all my teas out of the boxes. I'm going to organize them and all my tea accessories, both homegrown and from the store. I do have some of my mushroom mixes like the hot cocoa and the 4 Sigmatic chai tea. I have turmeric latte packets and then a few different accessories like infusers, matcha tea accessories, and honey dippers. I'm not a big fan of honey in my tea, but my neighbor has a beehive and he gives us local honey. Local honey is believed by many to be helpful for preventing seasonal allergies, so I like to have just a little bit of that in my tea and give some of that to my children as well. So that completes today's video, which was all about tea. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and I will know to make more tea content in the future. If you like my channel, please be sure to subscribe and come say hi over on Instagram for more content on my Instagram stories. And I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye.